Good evening, Mr. Speaker.
Good
Thank
evening,
you very
ma'am.
much. The work that Jackson Labs does and Jackson Labs' reputation, it's all very exciting. The idea of having them here is very exciting. And that isn't anything that I want to debate or dispute. There are a number of things, though, about this deal that I find disturbing. Some of my constituents find disturbing. Representative Micatel has brought up a number of those, like the unbalanced distribution of risk, what Connecticut gives up, what Jackson Labs gets, the fact they don't pay taxes, the lack of our portion of royalties, the fact that we have very finite resources, as does every state, and that a very large portion of those resources would be parked in one place in one industry. But there's something on top of that that disturbs me more, and it has to do with the actual numbers we have and how we got to them. And, Mr. Speaker, through you, I have just one question for the proponent of the bill. Thank you. My question, Mr. Speaker, is, do we have an independent opinion on the valuation of the deal, of how much it is worth and should be paid? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Whitletts.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, I think that would be very difficult without knowing the details of the Memorandum of Understanding. What we do have is the report from the PricewaterhouseCoopers evaluation, and our own Department of Economic and Community Development has used the REMI method, which has been used consistently in government for evaluations of potential activity. But I don't know, without having the details of an MOU, I don't know how you would have an independent evaluation without those details. So I think the answer is no, to the best of my knowledge. Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Lavielle, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank Representative Whitletts for her answer. I am, in any acquisition I've ever worked on, and I understand this is not an acquisition, but in any contract negotiation I've worked on between the two parties, one party has something to offer, and they have an opinion of how much it's worth. And then there's the party who's going to pay for it, and they have an opinion of how much they should pay. And often, when you do know what's being offered, you can evaluate that, or you can ask for an evaluation of that before you decide how much you're going to pay. As my constituents ask me, what's the basis for these numbers that we're hearing, the 291, the 99, the building, the duration? What is the substance behind this? What is the reasoning for it? I find I have not had the answers to those questions and can't provide them. And without them, it's difficult not only to say, are we paying too much, but even are we paying enough? I mean, I don't have that answer, but it is a lot of money. It is a substantial investment and a substantial risk. And I find at the moment that not having that basis is very difficult to rationalize. Now, it seems that over the past few days, a lot of people have gotten a lot of calls. I had Representative Cafaro mentioned he had had a call from a Jackson Labs board member. So did I. And I asked that question during that conversation. And the answer I had was, well, it's a unique opportunity, and it's somewhat hard to put a value on a unique opportunity. With a unique opportunity, again, I find this troubling because that can be true, but then you often are in a competitive bid situation, and you know you're going to offer 500 because the next highest guy offered 480, and if you're going to get it, you got to offer 500, and that makes sense to me. But we don't really have that situation now either. So I feel that we are dependent for what we're offering simply on Jackson Labs' own assessment of what this opportunity is worth to us. And I find having to give that as an answer to constituents who ask me very troubling. And so I'll just close on something. During that conversation, and I think this was a throwaway, but it made me think, the board member I spoke to mentioned the attractiveness of exploring the art of the possible. That was the phrase. And I think it was a throwaway. But anyway, the art of the possible. I think that comes from Bismarck, by the way. I looked it up. And the art of the possible, there are a lot of possible worlds. But if you don't combine the art of the possible with the science of judgment and informed choice, you might unleash so many possibilities that you won't get the best of all possible worlds, but maybe something that's much less attractive. And then you can lose control of your destiny, and so can the residents of Connecticut. There's a lot of exciting possibilities here, but I don't think I can sell art without science to my constituents right now. And strangely, we seem to be without adequate science as we watch the structuring of this deal. So with great regret, and I mean that, I'm going to have to vote no on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.